Good afternoon, everybody. We're continuing our search. Nothing has slowed down. In fact, I believe we have about the same amount of searchers as we had yesterday, over 100 volunteers, as well as sworn staff, Cal OES, and all kinds of people. We remain in unified command. Our partners with the Placer County Sheriff's Office have been amazing. CHP has provided us with a lot of space, resources, experts in certain fields, Truckee Police Department. Everybody that's been here, including Cal Fire and other folks that you wouldn't even necessarily expect to be here, have been great partners and are giving different pieces of experience and expertise to help us sustain and keep this going. To date, we have 4,500 man hours put into this search alone, which is astronomical in the period of time. We had an earlier meeting today with pretty much experts in the field within California, as well as people from Cal OES that oversee the entire search system for the state, and the law duty officers that answer within that to help us with mutual aid and things of that nature. We are still lacking clues, and so our searches are based off of probabilities of scenarios and different types of incidents. And so I would echo what my partner, Lieutenant Barnhart, had said, that we need information and we need clues. We need people to give us things, even if it's seemingly small. But we're going to continue our efforts, and I really want to thank the family. They've been pretty amazing. We're not coming forth with the answers that they're wanting, and we know that. That's hard for us, but the family has been amazing for us, and both mom and dad have been active players as well as the rest of the family, and trying to make sure we do the best we can for them. So thank you.
Yes. Oh, yes,
Why
sir.
have some of the signs in town been changed to trash and debris and not with our information still? The little flashing orange signs, the fire department had put up stuff. It used to say Kiely or description and stuff, and now it's saying bring your trash and debris to us instead.
I don't have an answer for you. The Sheriff's Office doesn't control the signs you're talking about, but we can surely inquire and ask. Yeah, we've had lots of discussion about signage. One thing I will throw out is that Code Red and Everbridge, they're the two alert systems. Most people within Nevada County and Placer County are aware of those systems. They're used for emergencies, fires, things of that nature, not typically with missing persons. Due to the struggles of trying to get certain messaging out and higher level messaging, we started releasing our Everbridge and Code Red messages today to include phone call, text message, and email. Some people may not have received it yet. It may take throughout the entire day to have that go out. Somewhat complex to send a message to, say, 100 or 300,000 people, and that will clog up the system. So it's done in a phased approach, but we're trying to compensate for some of those things that are lacking. We've even heard that maybe signs were being pulled down in certain areas of missing posters. Luckily, through the Code Red system and things like that, I don't have as much experience with Everbridge, but we have about an 80% enrollment for Nevada County. So out of our 100,000 residents, that message should hit about 80,000 residents, and could even be non-residents if they ended up registering for our system. So we're trying to compensate for some of those things. I would just like to reemphasize, I mean, I think the reason that everybody is in this room right now is this is getting a lot of attention, and a lot of people are aware of it. The more messaging that we get out, we firmly believe is a better way to do business. But most people are aware, and we're trying to make sure that everybody's aware to the best of our tools. There is still business and things that have to go on in life, and some of those entities that aren't working in our system maybe aren't as aware of, hey, like, even though you have these responsibilities for debris or trash, that, hey, we could still use some of that help and things like that. But there are still other things that do need to go on. Our emphasis is in the search for Kiely, and we're putting that energy into it.
Is there a specific area, geographic area, where the search is being conducted? I mean, we were talking about searching, but is there a specific location, or is it still pretty broad at this point?
Tough to answer. I mean, to truthfully answer, we have a point last seen and a point last known, and that's confirmed by digital evidence and individuals, and that's our focus. And so when we meet with all these experts in the field and we say, hey, here's our search, here's what we've done, here are the amount of hours and tracks and different things that are going into it, are we missing something? And the answer in the room is no. So then you start to play out your scenarios of, is this a missing person who went off the road? Is this a traffic collision that occurred? Is this some sort of an abduction or even a violent crime, or any of those types of scenarios? And then you have to start to think, how does that search then get impacted by that? And the amount of time that's elapsed Somebody could cross into a different country, a different continent. All kinds of things could happen. And so to focus a search is complicated. So the reason we're constantly in front of the media, trying to do community meetings, trying to use Code Red, trying to work on things like the Amber Alert and things that people are really frustrated about. We just want the word out so that people are looking, and we're getting tips from all over the country. I don't know that any of those have panned out, but we're getting tips from all over the place. And we have other countries that are even asking and wanting to talk to the family. So there's support, I think, because people feel that they could be in this same situation themselves. We just want word out so that more eyes are out, because we don't have an exact spot to look for, and that is unusual, especially with a large object like a car.
Is there some way that pawn shops within the area have access to the possible necklaces appearing?
In California, anyway, I can't speak on Nevada because I don't know the laws there. The pawn shops are required to send in notifications and slips to local law enforcement, and then we'd have the ability to then enter those into databases. We do use them for like burglaries and things like that. There's a time frame of when they have to turn that in. That wouldn't be something that would necessarily be immediate. And often one of the difficulties, and that's why I think a lot of emphasis is maybe on some of the jewelry that's on there. I don't know that I can guarantee those match exactly what she has, but often they're entered in as gold chain. And so, you know, you can only imagine the number of gold chains that are put into pawn shops.
The Code Red system is something that's been in place. Why is it just now being used to find Kiely?
Yeah, we have been talking about it for a while. It does take a lot. You have to break things up geographically. There are some things. It's not a traditional tool. It's not intended for a missing person. We had some faith that some of these other systems were going to move forward, and we put some emphasis onto it as we kind of built out a strategic plan to push out our Code Red. It takes multiple people. It's not like a one person. I can put out a Code Red pretty quickly on like a radius or something like that. But if you jam the system and it stops working and you got to wait for reset, and then half get it, half don't, a person here, and it causes some confusion. So we've been working on it for probably a day-ish, yesterday into the day, and we were trying to pick out a strategic plan to put out with Facebook to notify. And really, we're kind of hoping for a resurgence of bodies, right? Volunteers are getting tired of being in the field and searching. They're coming out because they care. I did search and rescue for a long time, and the love and energy that comes out selflessly to do those things, it can get exhausting when people aren't seeing that there's a goal or a direction, and we're all feeling that. So we kind of try to pick our planning of our timing to be effective, and also some of the things that it takes logistically. And I'm sure Everbridge is relatively the same. We were trying to work in conjunction and make sure our message is clear and concise and matches and things like that. Our hope really for putting out today is that we can get a real surge of searchers and things coming into this weekend and reinvigorate. And we talked to family today about the potential of messaging and things like that to let people know that they care and they're on board and they really appreciate the community support and the things that are going on. But we're trying to be strategic about things, but try not to abuse or lose things and stuff like that. So I'll leave it at that. It wasn't necessarily perfect, and maybe it could have used earlier, and we acknowledge that. We didn't really know it was going to be what it is either, and so this has grown into something that wasn't really anticipated in day 1 or 2. We do searches all the time. Nevada County probably goes over 40 searches every year. Not to this extent, and things that don't usually go this long, because we're usually pretty successful. So pretty stressful on us as well, and more so on the family, and it's hard to look at them and not have answers. So, yeah.
Final question. With searchers getting tired and new searchers coming in, and with this new technology you're using, can you reiterate that the people coming into town, because we're going to have a big influctuation of people into this community coming in starting tomorrow through the weekend, and if they do want to use those resources and go searching, can you explain to them where they need to come and they need to check the QR code and then use that before they enter the field instead of just entering the field if they're wanting to help?
Yeah, JD, thanks. I probably should have started with that.
It's okay.
There's a lot going on.
Make sure they know they're coming.
Outside the box thinking, the teams came up with a great idea to create a mapping system for civilians and folks that aren't necessarily professionally trained to do certain things. The family has a trailer here in the rec center's parking lot. Rec Center's been fantastic, allowing us to use this area and conduct media and community relations, but the family's been out in the trailer in the parking lot with the assistance from friends and community members. There's a system that allows you to log on to the CalTopo app. It's designed specifically for people trekking out in the woods, things of that nature. Also, we use it for search and rescue, emergency evacuations, and all kinds of things. People in the field can download the app, come down here. It can be accessed off of web pages as well on computers. But our goal for having the civilian side of CalTopo is people going into the field and helping us narrow areas that have been looked at and searched. We don't necessarily want to open up of, hey, here's where we've been searching, because one, we haven't found anything in those areas, but we also want to encourage people to go out and then be able to share those tracks. And so the reason it's not being, it has been copied and put online and it is accessible out there, but we don't want 1 million people from the United States logging on to this. We want people like JD's pointing out that are coming here to the community and are like, hey, you know what, I can take a route over here, or I can go and look at this. We don't necessarily want people to turn on tracks and just log tracks while they're driving around town and going to concerts or doing things that are still going on in life. We want people who are logging the tracks because they're actively looking and they're staring off on the side of the highway, or they're walking around Stampede Lake or anywhere that they might be in the area, actively looking, not just logging on because they want to see what everybody else is doing. In the event too many people log on for unnecessary reasons, it could overload that server, and we may have to shut that map off, start a new map with a new code. So we're really encouraging people that want to truly participate to be able to use it, but not just anybody throughout the world, because at this point the QR code is out there. We didn't post it for a reason, and it's specifically for that, but it is a great tool. This hasn't really been done to my knowledge before, so we're really relying on the community to try to utilize this system appropriately to help out. That'll allow us to overlay on our current tracks and things we have. We're not sharing our tracks because it's a secret. We also don't want to condense people to come to where we're at, because that's where we are searching. But we also don't want to dissuade anybody that feels like they can go somewhere, because we're not perfect. And what if we did miss something and somebody else could have seen it? So we're not sharing it intentionally for a lot of various reasons, but it's not because it's a secret and it's hidden. We will share those maps and show things for people, but we don't want to influence a lot of things for various reasons. Good question, and thank you.
Hi, Sam Brown, captain of that county sheriff's office. There's actually 2 ponds on Cold Street that go up that way. I believe that's both been walked by ground pounders. It was flown with air support, helicopters, motorcycles, UTVs, patrol cars. That road's extensively been searched. We could always look in the map to confirm we're talking about the same ponds, but there's 2 bodies of water right there if you go up.
Different ponds, the deep ponds at the bottom.
Then you should probably come and you can talk to us afterwards. But if you submitted the tip, they are covering all those things. Just because I don't know every body of water that was searched. Pretty much anything within the route, like around Cold Stream, was obviously a high target area of making sure we covered it. But at the same point, we want to make sure we covered it. Sam Brown again, Nevada County Sheriff's Office. I know everybody's got a lot of interest in the video and the license plate readers and all those things. Every time we talk about it, because we've been talking about it at all the meetings, I don't know that you can completely even understand the task of reviewing the video you're talking about, plus the video that we consider to be relevant that we're obtaining on a regular basis. One single cell phone can contain about 256, if not 500 gigabytes of information. I don't know that you understand the grasp of that. The other thing I would throw on is that we literally sent law enforcement from gas station to gas station, any store location that we thought had a video camera of some sort, which is how we ended up with some of our surveillance video that's here. And so yeah, I would say every effort to relevant information that we put at a higher priority is being reviewed. To sit and watch a camera on I-80 to see a vehicle go by at 65, maybe more miles per hour is almost an unsurmountable task, because now you're talking about not watching it at full speed, you're talking about slowing that down and sitting there watching it. You're not talking about hours, you're talking about days, weeks, maybe even months for a single video camera. And I know that doesn't seem like that's as thorough of an answer as everybody wants to hear, but we're all humans and we're people, and we're taking video as a priority. How do we move that through? What's the best that we can do with it? And I assure you, there's a team of about 150 law enforcement officers that are assigned out. We have a group specifically assigned out to video specifically, just video. And some people are sitting there literally reviewing video and just watching it. Some systems are being sent off to be sent through automated systems that can look for license plates, vehicles, different types of things like that, and then comes back and allows us to kind of have a heads up if something pings or hits on that, because it's an insurmountable amount of information. And I don't know if anyone can understand the grasp. Our teams are in an up and down of emotions and trying to do the same things that you guys are doing. Ask those questions, get that information. We're not going to tell you where every camera and every license plate reader is at. That would be ridiculous, and it also could defeat the purpose of somebody trying to avoid those things. I assure you that, yeah, we are not perfect. We have not covered every single thing. I guarantee you. You guys will ask questions and give us information, and we have not done everything. When we leave, and if we're successful in what we're doing, we still won't have covered everything. It is impossible to cover everything. We're trying to be reasonable. We're trying to do the best job that we can. We'll answer questions all day long, but all the things about video, license plate readers, we'll never cover it all. It is impossible. You could bring the entire California civilization in here and tell them to review video, and we'll never keep up because it's still going. It's ongoing, nonstop. But we are putting every effort into doing what we think is reasonable, responsible, and hopefully going to be effective. And that's the best that I think we can do. And so I understand the frustration. I can hear the frustration. I feel it. I feel it when I sit back at the office. I feel it when I sit back at my house and thinking about it. We are trying our best, and video is a huge part of that. Amber alerts, all of those things, all the questions that are coming up, we keep answering it. The answer's not changing because the efforts are still the same, and there's still the same struggles and still the same pieces of that. But we respect that everybody's upset. We understand that. We're upset. We want to have answers. We want to have solutions. We want to have results for the family, and we don't yet, and we're working on it. So that's the best I can say.
So, Captain Brown, you had an incident about 2 months ago in North San Juan where a person shot up a store and kidnapped a woman, and then she escaped out of a car. Now, I go to Grass Valley 3 times a week. My understanding, there was something with you guys with Washoe County checking that same road I keep talking about. And apparently, I understand there were some cameras put out. Now, if I'm blowing smoke, tell me that, but I believe they caught the guy in Reno, is that correct?
That's incorrect.
Have you talked about it?
That is correct.
Okay. There was no connection on that fence?
Hold on. Why don't you and I talk afterwards? I'm not going to deliver tactics, tell you strategies and the things that we're doing in a community forum on a news channel. You and I can talk afterwards. The case you're talking about with that individual has zero to do with this. It causes more stress, causes more problems, and the mom said it best when she jumped up and defended us at one point in time, which I really appreciate. And what she wanted was progress, positive things, and how do we move forward. And some of the things that are frustrating is because later on I have to go look at the family, and I can tell them that we don't have any results. And the things where you guys point out that, hey, you haven't done this, you don't have results, they're not helping us. We have 150 law enforcement professionals, people from all over the country, from all over the state that are experts in the field. We sit countless hours and countless time talking about all of these things you guys are bringing up. I know they're important. We want to answer questions for you. That's the whole point of a community forum, to inform you guys and let you guys know the things that are going on. With the family, I shouldn't speak on their behalf, but I see, when you see the ups and downs and the stresses, this causes the family to have to relive and go through these things. My goal is to move forward, let's get this investigation going, and keep the community informed. The family, I try to keep close at hand and keep informed at all times. My partners with the Placer County Sheriff's Office, Captain Sander and I have been doing the same thing the whole time. We have people liaisoning with them to try to make sure they're informed. That's our biggest goal. The community support is a huge factor. We need community support. We need help. We need information. We've been thinking about all the things we can't do, all the things that we're not going to accomplish, all the video we probably won't be able to review. That's not going to help us. We need to focus on the things that we can get done, the things we can accomplish, the tasks that we can make actionable. And that does come with information. When you end up on a search that you no longer have clues on where to go and what to do, then where do we keep going for the family? And how do we keep going? Because I can tell you right now, we're on day 7 of the search. Day 7 of a search with 100 people, professionally trained, and lots of civilians that I can't even tell you and count who are out there looking around. And they're being given direction by experts, at least in the state, of here's where we go, this is how we do it, these are the things that we get going and move forward. But at the end of the day, the family needs the community support. And the goal of these community meetings is to keep people updated and give them information. I'm sorry, I don't have a lot of good information to give you guys. I'm more sorry for the family that I don't have information to give them. But the nitpicking or the trying to pick apart or talk about a whole separate case, we know the roads in the area. I have extensive maps with tracks all over the place, with helicopter tracks and car tracks and motorcycle tracks and people walking around and all these different things. You know, while we're waiting here, we were able to confirm that those ponds on that property were searched and checked. And we're going nonstop trying to figure this stuff out. I get it, and I know you guys are concerned. I appreciate that everybody is here. I appreciate the frustration because that means that everybody cares. But we need to have these positive reactions and asking simple questions so that people can get to their questions as well. It's not to take over. I have no problem having a sidebar conversation with you afterwards. All I want to do is try to do the best I can and give you guys community support.
Thank you.
I've been to wonder